Welcome again, my people. Welcome to my channel. It's your boy Gustavo. As we all know, the Club World Cup has just started, and then the first round of games have ended. There were a lot of controversies, lots of goals. When it comes to goals, there were a lot of goals. Notably, Bayern Munich beating Auckland City by 10 goals to 0. A whole lot. Controversies, excitement, sadness, a whole lot. So we'd like to break all this down with you guys. But before we start, I would like to let you guys know that this episode is proudly brought to you by Najoo Spices. Najoo Spices. Yes, if you want spices for your programs, your funerals, your weddings, your outdoorings, any occasion that involves food, right? Contact Najoo Spices for your spices. Yeah, because they are the best around. The whole of Accra, I can testify to that. I know what I'm saying because I've been a customer to them, and I know how it tastes, right? Yeah, so you can contact them for all your spices. If it's for meat, chicken, kiliwili, their spices comes in variety. You get it. So you can contact them on 055 493 8440. 055 493 8440. Yeah, so they have spices in variety. It comes in jollof and stew spice, chicken and beef spice, shito and kiliwili spice, garlic and ginger spice, and then finally the complete spice. I think that's all in one. Yes, so if you want anything regarding spices, anything to spice up your food, contact Najoo Spices. Yes, so let's delve into today's program. As we all know, the Club World Cup has just started, and it started in the USA. A whole lot of things happened, controversies, as I said, excitement, and then a whole lot. And it started with Leo Messi's Inter Miami against Al Ahly, and which ended in a goalless draw, right? And these are my observations, right? There are a lot of things that happened within this week in the first round of games, right? And I've observed certain things that I think I would like to share with my audience, right? So let's get straight into it. Yeah, so first of all, right, I observed, I'm sure I'm not the only one who observed this, right? When it comes to the football world, almost everyone observed it, which is the attendance, right? The attendance in the beginning, and still, not just in the beginning, it's still very poor, right? A whole lot. Because, first of all, I don't even understand FIFA, right? Why would you organize a tournament in a country that you know is not football inclined? That's the point. It's just like you selling cocoa in, let's say Wachi in an Ever community, right? And then you sell Tuozafi in an Ever community. You sell Akpele in a Muslim community. It doesn't make sense. That's why I think though. Because that's exactly what happened. You take football to a country where it's not football inclined. As we all know, basketball and then the likes are the most liked games in the USA. So I wasn't surprised that the attendance was poor, because there were even reports that the ticket prices were reduced just to let people in, because they don't want to run at a loss. You get it? It's surprising. I don't understand why most people were like, oh yeah, they did it because of Messi. And even if I was you, I would also try that, because I feel Messi is a brand on his own. He's just like Ronaldo, something like that. But the country he's playing in, not just the Messi factor alone. Don't just factor in the Messi thing alone. The country you are going to play in is also a problem, right? So there were reports that prices of tickets were reduced just to accommodate people. And then I even read something that even the cameras were adjusted to a certain level so that people don't see that the stadium is not full. You get it? A whole lot. So that's one thing I observed. But then people are saying the attendance was very poor. But this current Club World Cup has recorded the highest number of attendance in Club World Cup history. You heard me right. It has recorded the highest number of attendance in a Club World Cup tournament ever, which came in the game against Atletico Madrid and then PSG. According to Flash Score, right, they amassed 80,619 fans. 80,619 fans. And then the second highest attendance came with Inter Miami against Al Ahly with 60,927 fans. 60,927 fans. With that, I wouldn't be surprised because Messi was there. So probably Messi was the one who gave them that pool. Yes, Messi was the one who gave them, because everyone wants to come and watch. Yes, everyone wants to come and watch Messi, right? So in an aspect that the attendance was very poor in most of the games, we also had some matches that had record attendances. Yes, so that's what I observed. And then the second thing I observed is the competition, right? Some of the matches don't give us competition at all. Like, we, the audience, don't enjoy the game. A typical example was the Bayern versus Auckland game. Beating them by 10 goals to 0. Like 0. Who does that in a Club World Cup, which is meant to be very competitive? Because big clubs are coming. If you are not up to that standard, you shouldn't be there. So that also raises the question, how did some of these teams qualify to this tournament? How? Because it's surprising. A top team coming in, then being beaten by 10 goals to 0 is surprising. But there were reports that most of these players are part-time workers. They are part-time footballers. They play football part-time and then work part-time as well. Their goalkeeper, who played in that game, did his best, but he couldn't. He also is a part-time worker and a part-time footballer as well. You get it? So the competition that we the fans want to enjoy is not there. We want games that, oh yeah, obviously there are games that were very tough, games that were like, but they aren't as many as the poor games we are watching. Due to what? The competition that isn't in the tournament. You get it? And then thirdly, I observed that most of these players are not giving in 100. They are not putting in all their efforts into this tournament. And seriously, I'll side with them. Because you can't play the whole season and then a new format is created for you to play another whole tournament for a month. Everyone is tired, bro. Even the fans are tired. I think it's all due to this tiredness that even the fans don't want to watch football again. That we are having poor attendances. You get it? We've watched football a whole calendar year. Let's go and rest. We've played football a whole calendar year. Let's go and rest. But then something else pops up and then it keeps the players going. They also can't say they will not play because they are under contract. They are under contract. You can't say you won't play. So the only option is just play, but then make sure you don't get injured. Because most players have their eyes on next season. They have their eyes on next season. He doesn't want to get injured before preseason. And then maybe someone is brought in to his position and then he loses his position. And I side with them. Right? Because life isn't all about money. Yeah, you get the money, but it shouldn't be all about money. Right? And then the next thing I observed is a question that I asked earlier. How did some of these teams gain qualification to this tournament? Because most of them are very, very, very poor. Very. To the bottom. They are very poor. And even in Europe, some people are asking. Because they told us the ticket to qualify to this tournament is number one. If you've won the Champions League in your continent within the last 4 years, right? Good. And then two, if you have the required accumulation of points within the last 4 years, they have a mark. So if you are within that range, that's another point that gains you a ticket to play in the tournament. And people were asking, some of these teams were not better than Liverpool, right? Most of these teams were not better than Arsenal, but they are playing. So how come? What happened? Is there another criteria that we, the fans, don't know? That's a question for another day, right? The next thing that I observed, right, is if these teams are still playing like this, right, will we still have this club or this same format next season? If this thing still continues, we have this same format for next season in the Club World Cup? Because most fans are even saying it should be cut off. We like the old format like that. And I'm also one of those people. I think the old format was okay. There's nothing wrong with that format. It's okay for us. We like it like that. Right? So these are some of the observations that I have made. So I don't know what you have also observed, though. You can put it in the comment section for me, right? So during this first round of games too, there were certain records that were set, right? So I would like us to delve into that as well. The record number one that I know of, Phil Foden scoring the fastest goal in the history of the Club World Cup after 2 minutes. Yes, Phil Foden. That came in Manchester City's 2-0 win against Wydad of Africa. And then secondly, Bayern beating Auckland City 10 goals to 0, right? Beating Al Hilal's record of beating Al Jazeera 6-1. So initially, the highest scoreline was 6-1 in the Club World Cup. That was against Al Hilal and then Al Jazeera. But then there's a new team in town who are currently holding the record, which is Bayern beating Auckland by 10 goals to 0. And then Hilal being the first Arab club to pick a point against an European club in the Club World Cup. The first Arab club to gain a point against an European club in the Club World Cup. And in that same match, broke Madrid's record of 11 straight wins in the Club World Cup. 11 straight wins in the Club World Cup has been scored by Al Hilal in that 1-1 draw. Right. The next record was the record attendance, which is 80,619, as I mentioned earlier. 80,619. Right. So now let's go into the results of the match week 1. The results of match week 1. We had a lot of goals, as I said earlier. A lot of goals came in. Inter Miami. Okay, excuse me. Bayern beating Auckland 10 goals to 0. We had, I think, Juventus also beating one of those clubs by 5 goals to 0. Excuse me. Right, so let's delve into the results of the first round of matches. Okay, we had the first game, right? Inter Miami against Al Ahly, which ended a goalless draw, right? 0-0. There were a lot of saves in that game from both goalkeepers, right? The game should have had a lot of goals, but even including the penalty save from the Inter Miami goalkeeper, right? So then it came Bayern versus Auckland City, 10 goals to 0 in favor of Bayern. PSG also beat Atletico Madrid by 4 goals to 0. That was a very surprising result because we know Atletico to be a very defensive team, a club that doesn't allow a lot of goals in. but then they took in 4. Palmeiras also playing in a 0-0 draw against Porto. Right. Botafogo also beat Seattle Sounders by 2-1. Chelsea beat Los Angeles FC by 2-0. Benfica and then Boca Juniors ended in a 2-2 draw. Flamengo beat Esperance Tunis by 2-0. Fluminense and Dortmund ended in a goalless draw. River Plate beat Uruguay Reds by 3-1. Let's continue. Inter Milan were held to a 1-1 draw against Monterrey. I think that's where Sergio Ramos is now, and he was the one who scored for them. So Salzburg also beat Pachuca by 2-1. Juventus also beat Al Ain by 5-0. Yes, you heard me right, 5-0. Juve are one of the clubs that I think they find it very difficult to score goals, but in this tournament, I think they've proved us wrong by beating Al Ain by 5-0. Right. So these are the results after match week 1. Right. So some of the matches in match week 2 have started. Right. We have Palmeiras beating Al Ahly by 2-0, and then Inter Miami, Leo Messi scoring the winner, inevitable. We all knew it was coming because most people were like, when that foul was given, they knew something could happen. And you know, these people are top players, and then we know at any moment they can produce something special. So Inter Miami beat Porto by 2-1. Right. So let's go into the fixtures of match week 2. Yeah, the fixtures of match week 2. I think we have we have PSG playing against Botafogo, right? Benfica against Auckland City. Chelsea versus Flamengo. Esperance Tunis versus Los Angeles. Bayern versus Boca Juniors. Mamelodi Sundowns of Africa, our own brothers, versus Dortmund. Inter versus Uruguay Reds. Fluminense versus Ulsan. River Plate versus Monterrey. Juventus versus Wydad. Real Madrid versus Pachuca. And then Salzburg versus Al Hilal. Manchester City versus Al Ain. Yes, so these are the results of match week 1, my observations of match week 1, the results of match week 1, and then the fixtures that are upon us in match week 2. So subsequently, we'll be bringing you results, observations, and the fixtures of match week 3. Thank you for joining us. Come again next time, and please remember to subscribe. Please, if you know you've not subscribed, please, I'm begging you, for proper football content, please and please subscribe to my channel.